You're listening to the My Work, My Life show.
Brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
For more information, contact us on
www.edgexec.co.za now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to My Life, My Work. Today, I think we're going to talk about a very interesting topic. My name is Stefan Enslin, and with me I have Janice Wagner. We are both two individuals who actually left the corporate world to start our own business. And I think a lot of you actually, one day you wake up and you think, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to work for a boss. I want to work for myself. But where do I start? So, Janice, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And yes, I think that's a topic that a lot of people are quite interested in. And let's just get into it. So, first of all, Janice, what made you decide to work for yourself?
Steph, same as you. We started our career as CAs at a leading Big Four audit firm, but I always had a feeling that I wanted to do something else. I always wanted to take it to the next level. Woke up one day and realized if I didn't take the chance now, I was never going to be an entrepreneur, and there was no time like the present.
But surely that must be quite a scary experience.
Oh yes, you're scared every single day you're going to fail.
What was the biggest fear that you had?
I realized that I started worrying about money every single day of my life.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure when was that first buck going to hit my bank account.
Yes.
And in my case, it actually took 6 months. I was at that point where, it was touch and go. Was I going to stay in this, or was I going to go back to being, my comfortable career of being a CA?
Yeah, look, I think a lot of us, we're kind of in a comfort zone. So, we've got debit orders, we've got commitments, so that monthly income is quite important. So it must be quite a big step.
Oh, I got to a point where I thought my cat and myself were going to eat off the same plate. But then finally some money started coming in.
But where did you start? Let's start at the beginning. What did you do?
I think to start a business, you've got to really decide what is your passion.
Yeah.
You're never going to be able to start a business unless you're passionate about it, because
Okay.
we complain when we're in corporate. We complain about working 8 to 5. But for us, working as an entrepreneur, it's like 6 a.m. till 11 at night if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So it's got to be something you're passionate about.
Okay.
But at the same time, you can't go into starting a career blind. You've got to go do your research. What does the market need? Where's the gaps? And how can you make money?
Okay. Look, I think a lot of us actually are at that point. We've got ideas. We've been thinking for it for a while. But what is the first step that you actually take?
Well, I think the first step you're going to take is, once you've decided what that business venture is going to be, is take the admin off the plate. So you need to go get a business advisor, somebody that can help you set up the business. So, set up a PTY limited, get the bank account, get your tax sorted out. You need all of that. So that's you're actually starting a valid business.
Okay, yeah. So I think there's even a lot of people out there that's still working for a boss, but they got a company and everything. But taking that bold step to say, now I'm putting in my resignation. Surely you probably need a lot of support from your family and friends. What did you do? Maybe you can just give us some clarity.
Look, I had to go. My father had always wanted me to be a CA. He was a CA. And I had to go and have the family discussion to say, I'm going to leave the Big Four now, and I'm going to move into a recruitment business. I'm going to try get a recruitment business off the ground. Obviously, you've got to be firm, because there's going to be a lot of blockers. I call them blockers, people that are going to tell you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. And you're going to have to stay firm on that. But I also gave myself a timeline. I said to myself, if in the first year I can't support myself, then I need to go back and look for a job in corporate.
Is this something you did overnight, or did you actually prepare for this? Because surely, we've got car payments, we've got home payments.
No, there's a lot of preparation that goes into something like this. You've got to know what is your budget. And even being an accountant, I actually didn't know. We always had cash, so I spent the money as whatever I wanted. So I needed to go back to basics and decide, okay, what was it that I could live on simply? I had to sell my favorite car, downgrade.
I think we all did that.
Exactly. the ideas of a large house and all of that, I mean, those went out the door. So I had to go back to a very, very basic budget of what can I live on, because I believe it's going to take at least six months to a year, and I put 1 year's worth of basic expenses away before I started this business.
Yeah, look, I do think that's quite important, because a lot of people are quite unrealistic when it comes to this thing. And did you make money right from the first month?
Oh no. It definitely took me 6 months before I closed my first deal.
Okay.
I mean, I think also being an entrepreneur, your hardest thing is to get that first client, because I came from a brand that was well known, and no one knew who Janice Wagner was, and it was very difficult to get those cups of coffee. So even people that I dealt with when I was in auditing no longer wanted to have those cups of coffee now that I was an entrepreneur.
But where did you actually start? I mean, business doesn't just come to you. Where did you go and find business?
So I believe in South Africa there's no chance that you can have a business unless you have relationships.
Okay.
I believe all business in South Africa is relationship based. So build those relationships. But I mean, I didn't just go straight into from a Big Four audit firm into my own business. I think you did, but I didn't. I actually decided to go try a business, and that business happened to be executive search. And I spent 3 years in an executive search business learning the business. And I can be honest with you, the first year of working in that business, it was tough.
Yeah.
I thought as a chartered accountant I knew everything. I mean, you know how it is. I went to clients. I really had no idea what banking was. I mean, I wasn't in the banking division. I was in manufacturing. So I mean, it is probably the most learning I've ever done.
Yeah, look, I mean, I come from banking, and I actually moved into mining. But I agree with Janice there. I mean, you literally got to phone up all your friends, all your contacts that you've actually had, and sometimes it's not easy. Some people are not good at selling.
No.
So where do you actually start?
Interesting question coming through on Twitter. The question being, are there some people who may want to go into their own business but are not suited to being an entrepreneur? I 100% believe that not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. I mean, what do you think, Steph?
Look, I do believe. I think we all got different strengths. I mean, Janice and I have been quite fortunate in working together. I can say you are fantastic at selling. I'm not really good at that. I'm very good at relationships, and maybe that's that's the answer. You actually got to find a business partner where you can actually bring the best of both parties to the table.
Exactly. Another question. How long did it take from deciding you wanted a change and it actually happening? 3 years. So 3 years. I actually learned the business for 3 years before deciding if I didn't take this jump now, I was never going to take this jump.
Yeah. I think you also need to be realistic. I mean, you suddenly you call yourself you're a businessman or you're an entrepreneur, but the big money doesn't come in immediately. I mean, you don't think of buying that fancy car in month one.
Exactly. Another question. Did you use or have a business coach or mentor? Would you recommend this to entrepreneurs? I have to be honest, I would recommend this to every entrepreneur. Somebody actually asked me a very interesting question this week, and they said to me, do I believe that one mentor can get you from the beginning of your business to the end? And I don't. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to have different mentors as you go through the process.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. But I think one of the most challenging things is finding the right mentor. Where did you find the right mentor?
Look, for me, I mean, I took a gamble. I've got this thing, and I think that's what you need to have as an entrepreneur. I don't have the fear of somebody saying no to me. So if they say no, too bad, I move on to the next. But definitely, I looked at the people that had started their own business that I found their stories were inspiring, and I took a gamble. I used LinkedIn and asked them if they'd be open to having a cup of coffee so that I could explain what I wanted to do with my life and my business, and see if they'd be interested in mentoring me.
Yeah, look, I mean, I also agree. I think once you've made the decision to go on your own, you actually have to have guts. You got to go out there, and you actually got to go and approach people. People are not going to approach you. I think we both are mentors to businesses as well, and it's quite rewarding. But finding the right mentor can be quite challenging. Sometimes you don't really gel with that person. Then you've got to find the right person that works for you.
Exactly. One of the questions coming through, interesting question. What is the best way to determine what your passion is? Okay, I'm going to come back to basics here.
Mm-hmm.
I got to a point after 10 years at a Big Four audit firm where that theme song for Carte Blanche meant the end of my weekend. Depression stuck in because I knew I had to get up the next morning, had to be at work by 8 and deal with whatever pressures were there for the next five days. My passion, I just happened to fall upon.
Okay.
But it's been something that I've realized I want to go to work every single day. I want to make a difference. I can make a difference, and that's been my passion.
Yeah, look, I also agree. I mean, you got to be realistic. I mean, I love art, I love music, but I really don't have the skills to actually make money out of it, because at the end of the day,
Oh no, I've seen your painting.
at the end of the day, you need to love. You need to love what you do, but you have to be realistic. I also had a passion for people, and I think that's why recruiting was such a perfect fit for me.
Definite.
So-
Another question coming through is, what is the single biggest personality trait that an entrepreneur should have? I'm going to say resilience.
Fully agree.
Because you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your great wins. You're going to lose those great wins, and you're going to start again. I mean, Steph, don't you believe that every single month we start again on a clean slate? So every month you've now banked the money. You start on the first of the month, and you're like, "Where's the business coming from?"
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know about you, Janice, but I mean, for me personally, we've had like bumper months where we really had made good money, and then I'm relaxing for the next month or two, and it comes back and it hits you. So maybe you can comment on that, and you know, from a business point of view.
No, I know you know exactly which project this is. Won a huge project. Wow, what a win for the business. But then I stopped doing enough business development because we were making enough money. But then it hit me 3 months later where my pipeline was dry. So I fully believe that no matter what you've won, you need to keep putting stuff down the pipeline every single month, because sometimes it can take as long as 3 months to close a client.
What is your biggest challenge from an entrepreneur, like month to month?
Where's the business coming from?
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
Every single month it's like, what am I going to close? How am I going to pay the expenses? Where's the cash flow?
Yeah. Look, I think a lot of people don't actually realize once you start working for yourself, you need to put many hats on. You know, cash flow is probably one of the, cash flow management is probably one of the biggest things that you got to manage all the time. I mean, once you have staff, you got to pay salaries, people look up to you. You can't say, sorry, I don't have money this month. I'm not going to pay you. So, you know, just having an idea is very important, but where does the next sale come from? And for me, that's quite crucial.
Definite. So one of the questions coming through on Twitter, do you and Stefan miss the corporate world, and what elements of the corporate world?
You know what I miss about the corporate world is we were always surrounded by very competent and clever people. So
Yes.
so suddenly in an SME, in a small medium business, you got to do everything. You know, I've got to do the pay as you earn. I got to do the VAT, things that's always been taken care of, and that for me is sometimes a challenge.
Oh gosh. Stefan, do you remember the first month of starting a business? Stefan and myself were obviously in separate businesses, but I thought I knew everything. I mean, here I was, I had worked in tax, I'd worked in audit. What could I not know about starting a business? I had absolutely no idea how to do a VAT return, a PAYE return. I didn't even know when they were due. And I could tell you what was wrong with your bank recon, but had no idea how to start my own bank recon.
No, that's very true. And I think what we find as well in mentoring businesses, people can get it so wrong. You know, once you let go on the statutory side, you can actually get yourself in so much trouble. That's very hard to actually get out of that again. You know, once you let the taxes go, you're behind on pay as you earn for months. That can ruin your business. So you actually have to be on top of everything.
Exactly. Question. You and Stefan are fortunate to be CAs. How does one go about starting a business when you have limited financial understanding? You've got to get a financial advisor. I mean, my business has been going 6 years now, and although I'm a CA, I have outsourced my finances to someone else because I've got to concentrate on running the business and not really on doing the financials.
Look, yeah,
and the monthly accounts.
I do agree. I mean, you got to form strategic partnerships, but your financial advisor needs to talk in a language that you understand. I also believe, you need to be close to the figures. Even if you're not a finance person, you can create that atmosphere for the two of you, where they actually put it in an understandable language. And if you're not on top of your figures, I really don't understand how you can run a business.
And then I think the next thing that it's a definite. You need a business plan. You need to know, what are you going to do? What's your plan going forward? And cash flow. How are you going to cover those expenses?
I think, I think even for individuals, people are so scared. If I tell you now to go and sit and do a proper, honest budget, you'll be scared to do that. Because you're probably going to see you're going to fall short. And if you just get a salary, where do you make up that shortfall? So sometimes in business, you really have to take an honest look at where you're going. You can't just turn a blind eye.
And then I think, Steph, for me, the next thing that I needed to do was build a support system. And my support system changed fundamentally. I mean, I needed people other entrepreneurs that have struggled. Because you struggle at the beginning. I mean, I'm 6 years into the business now, but I needed other people to bounce. What were my fears? What was I struggling with? That they could tell me, how did they get over it? And those people became my support system.
Yeah, look, I also believe, for me, the biggest thing is building a brand. And what people don't realize, you are the brand. And once you initially, and I don't know, Janice, if you find the same. I mean, initially when people come with work to you, you can't really say no. I mean, you got to take everything in the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning of a business, you take everything because you need that first client to tell the second client that you've got a client.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, as you go down, probably 2 or 3 years in, you go determine which are good clients.
Yeah, look, I think initially when you start your business, you're quite arrogant. You've got a target market, but you realize very soon that, you don't really have a brand as such. So you can't be pick and choosy at that stage.
A question coming through on the Twitter line. What does a typical day look like for you now that you're an entrepreneur? Okay. I don't think this is everyone, but I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
I don't, but yes.
I get up at 4. I go play some sport because I feel like I need 1 hour of my time. I mean, that sport has become weightlifting. Why? I don't know.
I don't know, guys. If you can see Janice, you probably wouldn't understand the weightlifting. It's still mind-boggling to me.
And then I hit the office, and generally I probably put that laptop off at 10 o'clock every night.
Yeah. And I don't know what you find. I mean, normally when I get into the office, I have some sort of a plan of how my day is going to go.
It never goes that way.
But it doesn't go that way. Yes.
I normally start that plan at around 6 p.m.
No, true. Look, I think that's one of the things. You have to be flexible. You have to be very flexible. One of the things of running a successful business is you need to be able to change, because you need to be in touch with the environment around you, and you need to be able to change very quickly. I mean, when I started my business, I was quite heavily into mining, and I really realized at a very early stage that the mining industry was taking a very different turn, and I wasn't being able to actually going to
survive.
Yes, to survive. And I had to change, and now I'm probably specializing in a lot of things that I never used to do before.
I mean, I think as entrepreneurs, we take everything. So as soon as a client says, can you do this? We generally say yes and find out how later.
Yeah, look, I think that's one of the things. You need to go in there with confidence. If you go into meetings and pitching for work with fear, people pick that up. So you need to go in with confidence, and that's where your networking is so important. I believe clients are actually looking for a full end-to-end product these days. So you need to build a network around you where you actually can provide that to clients.
I think the thing that's most important to me when it comes to relationship building is that I don't see my clients as a way for me to make money. I want to build a relationship with them, and I want to see them as friends, because for a friend you'll go a lot further than an acquaintance. So I want to know what's happening in their families. I want to know when their birthdays are, and I will never forget a birthday. I try never to forget a child's birthday, what's happening. If you want to be successful, you need to care. Your clients can't just be your money magnets.
But as a person, how did the transition from employee to entrepreneur, how did it change you as a person, Janice?
I have to say, it's a very tough business to start to be an entrepreneur. You're generally not going to have money. You're going to struggle. So I think it makes you very humble.
No.
Because when you start succeeding, every day you're shocked that you actually made it, because there's something about struggling at the beginning, and obviously every month. So I think it makes you humble, and every day you're grateful.
Yeah. Do you still celebrate your successes?
Yes. I must be honest with you. I kept a journal from when I first started the business. I mean, I started the business in a loft with my cat. I didn't have a website. I didn't have a business card. I had nothing. I had a dream. And I hoped it would materialize. And I kept a journal. And even at the time when I thought I had to give up, every day I'd find 5 things that I was grateful for, and 5 things that I wanted from life for the business. And I kept that journal all these years later to be grateful at how far we've come.
Look, I must say, for me, one of the most satisfying things of being an entrepreneur as well is sharing in your staff successes.
Oh yes.
I think we've got a bell in the office, so every deal we close, we ring the bell, we take photos, we applaud, we share in that. And for me, just to see them grow, it gives me such pleasure. It's something you can't explain, that I never had before.
So a question coming through on Twitter: how does being an entrepreneur impact your personal life, and how important is boundary setting? It's very difficult, because in my personal life, being an entrepreneur is a 24/7 job.
Yeah.
One of the most important things is networking, and networking events are at night. So it has taken a lot of time. But at the same time, I make time in other ways to accommodate friends and family.
Yeah, look, I mean, I fully agree with that. You, in a sense, you become quite selfish, and I'm trying to work on that. Sometimes I get home, I'm a little bit people fatigued. I just love lying on the bed and just flipping through the TV, not wanting to talk to people. But you got to have that balance. So, but I also do believe, like certain times, like weekends, you need to cut off and switch off and have me time. It is quite important to try and have the balance.
And then it says, coming through on Twitter, what are some of the warning signs when things are not going well?
Look, I'm still, even though I'm an entrepreneur now, I'm still an accountant probably by heart. So for me, figures, money is you'll know when salaries are coming up, the cash flow is not doing good, clients are not paying. So those things, it's a 24/7 job. You actually have to have your finger on the pulse all the time.
I mean, we are always so scared of spending the VAT money. We actually have a separate account which we put the VAT money in, so that in no way are we using the VAT money to cash flow our business.
No, I fully agree. I think a lot of businesses have actually run into trouble because of that. But yes, I mean, we need to try and keep a balance. For me, the most important thing, especially in the kind of business that we're in, is there's got to be pipeline. So, whatever we are in the recruiting business, whatever we are placing now, we'll probably only get paid end of May. So you need to think long term. The most important thing is, please don't live for today.
Interesting question coming through on Twitter. Is it ever too late to start a business? No.
I started quite late in my life, and it was quite scary, because I mean, you use all your money that you have, all your retirement money, you throw it in there, and you got to start and build a new nest egg. So it's daunting, but I don't believe you're ever too old to start.
I mean, let's be honest, neither of the two of us are spring chickens. So we took a gamble, but no, I don't think it's ever too late. Actually, recently, I love meeting new entrepreneurs. I recently met a 77-year-old woman that had just had a stroke and started her own business. Her name's Emily Morley, and she'd actually started Emily's Chili. Fantastic. At 77 years of age.
So you see, there's no time to start.
So Steph, you still got a few more years.
Well, I can't wait. I still want to make money.
Somebody asking on Twitter, what's your routine? Well, I've got to say, I make sure I have a structured, from the start, that I had a structured routine. I had no clients, but I'd get up every day, put a suit on and go to my loft, because I think it set a different mindset.
Yeah.
I never overslept. I never slept till 10. I made sure that I was in the office, which was the loft, by 8 a.m.
Yeah. Look, I think a lot of people, especially if you work from home, that becomes quite difficult. But you've got to maintain that discipline. You actually got to go. Your study is your office, and you actually need to go and spend the time there.
And then another question coming through. Have you had to change your original business plan as the business has grown? Yes. This is a constant. As an entrepreneur, I call myself a chameleon. You are constantly changing.
Yeah, look, I think what we see in business as well is, as I mentioned earlier, clients like an end-to-end business. So sometimes, we've adjusted our business model to actually accommodate our client, and that works very successfully for us. So we've even recruited at levels that we never thought we would, and we actually build it. We actually hired staff to accommodate clients in that, which works well for us.
Definitely.
Okay, Janice, if you have to give anyone some tips, they want to do it, they're quite scared, what is the next thing you got to do within the next 48 hours?
Decide what is it that you want to do. Have you done your market research? Is there a gap in the market for it? Do you have a business plan? Do you know where you can find yourself a financial advisor? Speak to your family, because it may be something totally off the wall. And I mean, we mentor lots of entrepreneurs. Yeah. And many a day they'll come and present to us, and we have to say, it's not a business that's going to make it.
Yeah, look, and
you have to be realistic.
For me, the most important thing is the buy-in from your family. You know what? Things might have to change. You might have to change your financial habits for a while, and the kids. Everyone needs to buy into it, because it is tough. It's not easy just to do that.
No, and I mean, then for me, it's definitely set your budget, put the money away, and then go for it. But you need also an elevator speech. We forgot about the elevator speech.
What is that, Janice?
Okay, an elevator speech for me is, if you're in an event and you get to meet somebody that's going to, because you also need the right decision maker, a decision maker for you to get a client. How can you sell your business in 30 seconds?
Yes. Look, I mean, I've actually brought business in by going to the gym and sitting in the steam room. So you always got to keep your ears open and build that. I mean, but building your brand, I think at the end of the day, is the most important thing. Where people actually start coming to you, that is where you want to go with your business.
I mean, I'll finish up with one story. We have a client which we're quite close to, and I love the story. She had tried to get a meeting with a particular gentleman, and he just wasn't buying it. And obviously that's not going to work for everyone, but she sent him a doll's arm and leg, and with it she left a message: I'd give an arm and a leg to have a meeting with you. And she got that meeting. As entrepreneurs, you've got to do whatever you can to get the business.
Look, I think this is a topic we can talk for hours and maybe we'll do a follow-up on that. But thanks very much, Janice, and for the listeners as well. And yes, go out there and just do it. I believe the success of this country lies within SMEs and entrepreneurs. We need a lot more of you out there. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You have been listening to the My Work, My Life show on brandlife.co.za.
Proudly brought to you by Edge Executive Search.
Visit Edge Executive Search on
www.edgexec.co.za now
for more opportunities, events, and our latest podcasts.